Hey guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to do a follow-up to the what's going on with my daughter video. If you have not seen that video, I will link to it right up there so you can go catch the entire story and see everything that we were dealing with my daughter, which eventually led to us testing her for celiac disease. When I had made that last video, we had not gotten the official results yet, so I'm going to talk about that and then just everything that's been going on since I made that last video. So back when I made that first video, we were kind of in this weird like limbo phase where we weren't sure really what was going on with my daughter. We had a pretty good inkling that it was celiac, but we did not have the official diagnosis yet. Though as of December 19th, the day that we had her endoscopy done, we were going gluten-free with her. By the time I had made that video, it really had not improved her symptoms. I think it was a week and a half after we had done the endoscopy and nothing had changed yet. But quite quickly after I had made that video, her symptoms, which were just loose bowel movements, did start to improve, which we were super thankful for. And that, of course, even before we went and met with the doctor to get the official diagnosis, made us think that, yep, this is definitely what this is. So her poop started looking a lot more normal, which we were super thankful about. So then on January 8th, 2020, I did take my daughter back to the gastroenterologist where I fully expected to get a celiac diagnosis, which we did end up getting. However, her test results were not as cut and dry as I had expected them to be. If you have celiacs, a lot of times your small intestine will be damaged. It's called villi, I think, or villi. These little like grabby things inside your intestines, they kind of, it's like called villi atrophy, I think, something like that. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but they kind of almost like shrivel up and stop working. They're supposed to kind of like grab onto the nutrients that kind of pass through your small intestine so that your body can absorb them. And what happens with people with celiac disease that are eating gluten, those villi like atrophy, they don't die, but they kind of, stop working. And so your body is not able to absorb as many nutrients as it should be, which is why then you experience all of these different side effects. But according to the doctor, my daughters were not damaged, which is a good thing. However, she did say that there was some inflammation in her small intestine. So that paired with her very high blood test results and the fact that her symptoms did improve after we took her off of the gluten was enough for the doctor to go ahead and officially diagnose her with celiac disease. So yes, Ivy does officially have celiac disease. It's kind of a lot. I mentioned in that last video, and I kind of rambled on and on and on, and hopefully I won't do this in this one, but just how overwhelming everything was because gluten isn't everything. It really, truly, honestly isn't just about absolutely everything. You can find alternatives and do things and make things that you love gluten-free, but it just takes so much more effort. You have to go and, maybe go to a grocery store that you don't normally go to because there's certain gluten-free things at one grocery store, other gluten-free things at another grocery store. So we've been going to a lot of different grocery stores lately, but I'm very thankful that she's been very responsive to all the new different gluten-free foods that we've been giving her, and we talk about being gluten-free with her all the time. Everything is gluten-free, and we say, oh, is this a gluten-free donut? Like when we're playing like with our pretend food at our house, and we're like, yep, of course it has to be gluten-free. That's what makes us healthy, and if it has gluten, that makes us sick. And so we're trying to really just kind of drill into her mind those words, gluten-free and gluten, so that she knows gluten-free is the good thing and gluten is the bad thing, and that she can only have one. But it is, of course, still a learning process. We are less than a month out here from our diagnosis, so we're going to be learning and just discovering new things about this disease and what we can and what we can't eat for years to come, I'm sure, and as new foods come out and different kind of things come out, we'll of course try and stay on top of everything, but it is very overwhelming, as I said. But I think, as being just a couple of weeks out from the official diagnosis, we're handling it pretty well. As far as dining out goes, I did want to touch on that because we do like to go out as a family at least once a week, even if we don't actually go to a restaurant to get some takeout from a restaurant. And that's been kind of difficult, finding different places that can cater to people that have celiac disease. But fortunately, there are a few options. Red Robin has been really great, and we actually just went there last night for my birthday. They offer gluten-free buns, which of course is perfect perfect. And the wait staff will actually, even in their like little electronic thing that they send to the kitchen to take your order, will actually be able to put in that you have a gluten allergy, which even though celiac is not technically an allergy, that's just the way that they put it, and that's just an easy way. It's just an easy thing to say to people that you're allergic to it. So that's super helpful. I do feel very, safe eating there. I feel very safe taking my daughter there. We've gone there, I think, twice now. P.F. Chang's is another one that's been pretty good. There's a place near us called Burger 21, which was also pretty good. They also had a gluten-free bun. Their fries were not gluten-free though, I don't think, but they did label everything very nicely and carefully and made sure that, there's no cross-contamination, which was excellent. What's another place that we've gone? Five Guys. Oh, that's another semi-decent place. They do have gluten-free fries, which is awesome. If you like fries and have celiac disease, you can go there because they don't make fried chicken or anything. The only thing that goes in their fryer is their fries. I do think they have a seasoned fry that is not gluten-free, but their regular ones are. However, they don't have a gluten-free bun, which is kind of surprising. But they do offer lettuce wraps, or you can get your burger like in a bowl kind of thing. So just all the toppings are just kind of like there in with the burger, which is how we did it. I do wish that they would have a gluten-free bun. Maybe one day they will, but so far they haven't. Oh, and Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. I've always loved Chick-fil-A. And that's also another great place. And I've heard mixed, I think, on their fries. If you have celiac or if you know a lot about being gluten-free, let me know what your take is on the Chick-fil-A fries, because I think I've heard mixed on those, because they do make fried chicken. So I don't know if those are okay. My daughter likes the fruit cups that they sell, so we just have always been getting those for her. But yeah. And then as far as what we're making here at home, a lot of our stuff really hasn't changed, fortunately. I didn't mention this in the last video, and if you haven't seen any other videos from me, I actually had weight loss surgery last year, so I don't eat any grains at this point. So a lot of what I've made is just naturally gluten-free because I just don't eat that in general at all anymore. So I think, just kind of a side note, that has been really helpful for me because I was already technically gluten-free. There have been a couple of things that I did eat that did have some gluten in it, but nothing. I don't eat bread anymore. I don't eat pasta anymore, nothing like that. So it's not like I was going from eating all of that stuff to not eating it because my daughter can't eat it. I was already not eating it. So for me, that was super, super helpful. Just a little side note. But so as far as what I'm making, like I do stuffed peppers a lot. We eat those all the time. Did I mention those in the last one? Yeah. Oh, and okay, so I did mention in the last video about how the seasoning packets that I usually get were not the McCormick ones. They are Old El Paso, and those ones are gluten-free. McCormick has regular, which do have gluten, and gluten-free ones. So the Old El Paso ones, which are better, are gluten-free, and we have not had any issues with those. So just kind of another little side note, back to the last video, I was wrong with that. But so I do make those. I make chicken all the time. We have done some corn dogs, and I do have some grilled like chicken nugget kind of things that are gluten-free upstairs. We haven't eaten those yet though, but I think we've actually done those before, like before we had celiacs. I think I just purchased those, so I don't think that there'll be any issue there. But I usually just make chicken for dinner. I do that almost every single night, chicken and vegetables, so that really hasn't changed too much. And we have tried a couple different boxes of macaroni. We have tried the Annie's one and the Great Value one from Walmart. Walmart, I will say, is awesome as far as being gluten-free goes. I'm not a huge fan of Walmart, but they really, really are awesome with all of their gluten-free stuff. So if you're on a budget and you want to go gluten-free, or you need to go gluten-free, check out Walmart for sure. And as far as like the taste goes on those two, because of course I'm giving it to my son as well. My daughter at this point, she'll just eat it. She doesn't really seem to have a preference one way or the other. My son said he liked the Annie's one better, but he would eat the Great Value one again. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're looking for some macaroni. Annie's, according to my son, is better, but Great Value is okay. I have not eaten them because I just don't eat grains at all at this point. And I did want to briefly talk about my daughter's school as well. She goes to like a once a week preschool class. It's just for a couple hours. They, do some games and play with some toys, sing some songs, make a craft, And then they do have a snack, of course, which is where most of the issues would come in. And it is not through an actual school district, so they will not do a 504 form, unfortunately, which a 504 form is like a legally binding document that you can have for a child with disabilities, which celiac is considered a disability, to like kind of put out an outline of everything that the child can and can't do and different accommodations they might need and everything. And you can get one of those through an actual school district. So when my daughter goes to kindergarten, we will fill one of those out for her, but because that's not what we're dealing with right now, we cannot. However, I did make like an action plan that I gave to the preschool that is basically like a 504 plan. I just went on Google and searched for a celiac 504 plan, like a little example, and basically copied and pasted a lot of the stuff. Some of it didn't apply, like because there's no hot lunch for her at the preschool and stuff like that. But I did copy a lot of it just to kind of make it seem very like official sounding. I mean, I haven't heard any problems with that. However, just this past week is when I turned it in, and we did have some issues that day. There was a substitute in her class, and I don't know exactly what happened, but my daughter did get a hold of an animal cracker and ate one animal cracker. We did, of course, give her her own snack. She's got a whole box of individually packaged pretzels, like the glutino pretzels that she can have, and they're supposed to give those to her. So I don't know exactly how she got a hold of an animal cracker, if she took it from somebody. There was a substitute in the class that day, so I'm thinking maybe the substitute gave it to her on accident. I don't know. I did in the action plan put something in about substitutes, about how I would like the substitute to be well aware of what's going on with Ivy so that this doesn't happen. Fortunately, the other teacher did tell me and did warn me that she did have a cracker, and Ivy fessed up to it. Not that she wouldn't, because she, of course, didn't know. But about 2 hours after I picked her up, maybe not even 2 hours after I picked her up, she had probably her biggest poop explosion that she's ever had. It was massive, and it was just like how it was, the consistency back before, but it was even more. And I had mentioned in that last video how every bowel movement she had was just huge. This one was even bigger, it felt like. So yeah, we're still kind of in the process. That was, I think, 4 days ago at this point. We're still in the process of getting her back to where she was previously, unfortunately. So when she gets glutened, at least at this point, because I know symptoms can change, but at this point it kind of does last for days, unfortunately. So, and I did also put in the action plan that, please tell me, we understand mistakes happen. Hopefully they won't if we follow all of those guidelines, but unfortunately it did happen, and hopefully now, because they do have the action plan, it won't happen again. And then once we move on to kindergarten, where she's in an actual school district, it will happen even less. Though, of course, when we're in the school district, there's going to be even more stuff going on, because she will have hot lunch that she maybe can have. I don't know. That might not even ever be a possibility for her. I don't know, which would be really sad, because I know a lot of the kids at that school, which is where my son goes, do like to have it. But it is what it is. I was thinking maybe, and if you have a kid with celiac, let me know if this would maybe be a possibility, that I could like bring her, I could like send her with like a frozen pizza one day, and they could like heat it up for her at the school, like just an individual one. I don't know if that would be something that they would do, but that's kind of what I've been thinking at this point. Obviously that's still a couple years down the road, but who knows. But that's pretty much where we're at this point as far as the celiac goes. We're just dealing with it one day at a time, keeping her as far away from gluten as we can. Mistakes happen, like it did the other day, which was unfortunate. But fortunately, she did not ever mention her tummy was hurting. She didn't get a rash. She never said that she felt bad or anything. It was just the bowel movement. So I'm hoping that continues, and that she never really does feel sick after she eats gluten. But from what I've seen on Facebook groups about kids and grown-ups as well being glutened, you really feel like crap after it. So I don't know what's going on, that she doesn't ever appear to feel like crap after it happens. But maybe the longer she stays away from it when it does happen again, because inevitably it will, maybe then she will, because it just, it honestly hasn't been that long since she's eaten gluten. But but who knows? This is all very, very new to us. We're just kind of, you know, learning as we go along. But thank you guys so much for watching today. Hope this was, well, I was gonna say, hope this was a helpful video. Maybe helpful, I don't know, informative, I don't know. I just did definitely want to make a follow-up to let you guys know what was going on with her and where we are at now. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.